This is Calm AF, a podcast for humans who are hard on themselves. A podcast for the overthinkers, people pleasers, perfectionists, and overachievers. I'm Kristen Finch, and I'm going to teach you how to quiet that incessant negative chatter in your head. Because you know what a person with a calm mind can do? Anything they want. Grab your coffee, gorgeous soul, because today's the day you get Calm AF. Hello, and welcome to Calm AF, and Happy New Year. This podcast is being released on January 1st, 2025. So there's this little part of me that's kind of hoping that for some of you, I might be the first person to wish you a Happy New Year. Even if I'm not, let me just say I'm so grateful that I get to spend the beginning of this year with you. And I've got some things I want to share today. I want to talk about how to approach this brand new year. I know we've been through some shit this past year. Many of you have had a really tough year. I put myself in that camp. 2024, I am not super sad to let go of. There was a lot of amazing things. However, I really am ready to just not think like, oh, this is going to be my year. No, this year's going to have shit too. However, I want to step into it in the most aligned version of myself. And I want to share for you how to do that. So as we are stepping together into 2025, let's start here. Listen carefully. I want you to really hear this and feel it in your bones. The new year does not need a new you. Okay? There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You don't need to change. You're not a flawed person who needs to change all the things about you in order to be worthy of love. You are already very, very worthy. The new year doesn't need a new you. It needs the real you. The real you, the version of yourself that is fully aligned, that is emotionally resilient, and ready to create the life you desire. However, before we can step into that power, the strongest energy in the room, there's some baggage we need to leave behind. So let's name it. Let's just name it. What are we leaving behind? Let's call it out. Let's release it. Because holding on to these patterns, these beliefs, these expectations, it's just going to dilute your energy. And we're done with that. We are done. We are in our full power. 2025 is asking you to show up as your full, focused self. So let's talk about 7 things that you need to leave behind in 2024. It's not serving you. You don't need to solve for it. You just need to leave it on the path. Okay? Number 1 is other people's expectations of you. Let 2025 be the year you stop living by everyone else's blueprint, everyone else's ideas about who you should be and what role you should be living in their story. It's not their story. It's your story, and you are spending your life trying to be what everyone else expects of you. And has it helped you feel better? Has it gotten you the approval or whatever it is that you've been looking for? No. It just keeps you more and more in limbo of when will it finally be my turn to do what I think I want to do. Other people's expectations, whether they come from your family, your friends, your society, strangers, whoever, they are not your responsibility. That's their little story they're playing out in their head. You are not here to live a life that makes them comfortable. You are here to live a life that's aligned with your values, what you're here to do, what you're here to create. So ask yourself, whose expectations am I trying to meet? Whose expectations am I trying to live up to? Who? Like, name the person. Don't just say it's like, oh, it's society. Like, name the person. And when you ask yourself, when you think about this, is this person in alignment with what you want? Are they living the life that you want? Or are you just trying not to disappoint them? Okay? We need to let go of other people's expectations of you. It needs to just be set down on the path and you just walk away from it. The second thing to leave behind is your expectations of other people. So just as you are freeing yourself from what other people expect of you, you need to release your expectations of them as well. How you think they should show up, how you think that they maybe will show up if you do meet their expectations. It's not going to happen. People are going to do what they do. They are all living from their dysregulation. They're going to make choices that don't show up the way you think that they should. They're going to do things that don't align with what you want them to do. That's their prerogative. That is their choice. Your power lies in your ability to focus on your own energy and alignment, not in trying to control or predict someone else's behavior. This is a waste of your time, and you're doing it all the time. You're always looking at your own life and your own goals through the filter of what other people are going to think, specific people. It's time to let go of that. It's keeping you from what you want. Let go of caring what other people think of you, what other people think of your partner, what other people think of your goals, your decisions, your plans. Let go of the need for people to act a certain way in order for you to feel like your choices are valid. Kind of along the same path is other people's opinions, the third thing to let go of. You've heard the saying, opinions are cheap, everybody has one. The truth about other people's opinions is that they are a reflection of them, not you. It's their own shit that they are reflecting out onto you. It really doesn't have much to do, if anything, with you as a person. You don't need anyone to agree with your vision in order for it to be valid. The life that you want to create is yours. You get to make those decisions, and it isn't up for debate. Their opinions are noise. This doesn't mean you can't you can't want other people's feedback, or you can't run it through, especially if you value someone's opinions. You can run it through that, but just keeping in mind that ultimately it is about you, not about them. The fourth thing to let go of is waiting for the right time to get started. News flash. It's not a thing. The right time doesn't exist. The right time actually does exist. It's right now. You don't need to wait until life slows down, until your, partner gets on board, until you finally find someone that believes in you. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need endless preparation. You don't need external validation to take action. You need to take action first. The belief that you'll start when things calm down or when you feel ready is procrastination. You aren't going to feel ready. As a person who consistently takes action well before she feels ready, I promise you, it's okay. You're going to be okay. Just start doing the thing. The perfect time is now. The fifth thing to leave behind is the stories that you are telling yourself about not being good enough. This one. Okay? The narrative that you have, that you are telling yourself that who you are isn't enough, that you need to fix yourself, that you need to change yourself, that you need to completely reinvent yourself, change all the things about you. This is a story you have been carrying for far too long. It has gotten very heavy over the years, and you're just dragging it everywhere you go, and it's slowing you down. You don't need to become someone else to create the life you want. You don't. You can change your identity to align with who you already are without all of the stories. That's who you're trying to get to. The story of being good enough is you already are. You just have these stories to get rid of. So you don't have to become something different. You just have to let go of what you've been believing. The sixth one, this shit, please leave behind this year. Let 2025 be the year that you truly go to rehab for your perfectionism. Get into a place where you are in recovery. Perfectionism is the thief of progress. It is the thief of a happy life. This belief that everything needs to be perfect and flawless before you move forward isn't serving you. It's keeping you stuck. It's the thing that is keeping you from everything you want. Progress will beat perfection every time. The number one tool that people come back to me and say, this is the one that changed my life, is to do it shitty. Messy action is better than no action at all, I promise you. And the seventh thing to leave behind is the belief that you just need to try harder. That the reason why you haven't created the life that you want, or that you don't have the outcomes or whatever it is that you want, is because you haven't tried hard enough or you haven't tried the right thing. It's not that. It is not that. You don't need to try harder. You don't need to do more. You don't need to push or force your way to success. Effort without alignment leads to burnout. The more you do from an unaligned or dysregulated place, the more exhausted you become. You don't need to hustle harder. You need to be regulated. You need to learn how to feel your feelings. You need to know how to change your thoughts. You need to get focused on what truly matters, and then you will just get into a flow. That doesn't mean we don't work hard. You still work hard, but this whole like grinding and don't ever stop and you don't need to rest, it's all bullshit and it's keeping you from what you want. So those are the 7 things to leave behind. Can we all agree? Yes. That makes sense. Leaving perfectionism behind. I want to leave that behind. I want to leave other people's expectations of me behind. But how? How do I do that? That's what we're going to talk about now. And as I talk about this, I want you to keep in mind there's just 3 things. And if you do these 3 things, it will change not only 2025 and how it feels and how you're able to achieve, but also 2026, 2027, 2048, whatever year, like learning, taking the time to do this right now is the equivalent of studying for a test for information that you want to retain forever versus cramming for a test that you just need to know enough to pass the test. Okay? Start here. It's going to feel like it's slower. It's going to feel like you're not going to reach your goals as quickly as you want. It's just not true. So here is how. There are 3 things that need to happen in order to let go of all of the things we talked about. You need to change your story. Okay? Every belief you hold about yourself, your life, or what's possible is a story you've told yourself. So to create something new in 2025, you need to rewrite those stories. You cannot create something new believing the things that you've always believed. You will always revert back to what's familiar unless you take the time to not only rewrite those stories, but you cement them in, you hardwire them. You create new neural pathways, and then you practice them so often that they become your most commonly traveled path. But here's the catch. Changing your story isn't about affirmations. It's not about like trying to just like try really, really hard to believe this new story. It's not wishful thinking. It requires emotional resilience. Because as you begin to believe in something bigger for yourself, there's going to be a lot of challenges. You're going to experience emotions like fear, disappointment, doubt, guilt, what I like to call the non-preferred feelings. They are 100% going to show up. You need to be able to understand that those feelings aren't signs that something is wrong or that what you're doing isn't going to work. They're just part of the process. If you want to become a aligned version of yourself, you're going to have to change your story. And in order to change your story, you're going to have to be able to handle these non-preferred feelings. So you're going to have to build emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is your ability to sit with discomfort without letting it derail you. It's about knowing that fear and disappointment and guilt, they're not emergencies, they're just emotions. And when you experience those feelings, you just need to remind yourself, this is just part of the process. This is what happens. This is supposed to happen. These feelings aren't a reason to stop. And I can feel this discomfort and keep moving forward. The more you build resilience, the less control these emotions will have over you. And the third thing that needs to happen is you need to recalibrate your nervous system. So in order to develop that emotional resilience, you need a regulated nervous system. Why? Because when your nervous system is dysregulated, every feeling feels like a crisis. A small disappointment can feel catastrophic. A little tiny doubt, a thought that pops into your head like, maybe you're not ready for this. That can feel like a reason to quit when it's just a little thought. It's just a little disappointment. Recalibrating your nervous system helps you see your feelings for what they really are. physical sensations that your body is experiencing, not emergencies. To recalibrate, you want to focus on practices that regulate your body and your mind. So you might need to learn some tools to get yourself out of a fight or flight or freeze or fawn response. You might need to find what works for you. What are the things that often trigger you? What are the things that help you move into a state of alignment? That's what you're going to need to learn and focus on first and foremost, so that you can have emotional resilience, so that you can change your neural pathways. When your nervous system is regulated, you're going to be able to hold space for your emotions without being consumed by them. So what does this look like in practice? Let me give you an example. Let's say you decide to start a new project in 2025. A bold, big, audacious goal that feels exciting but also scary. So you're taking your first steps and immediately you're like fear, doubt, guilt, I'm leaving my family, I'm going to be whatever it is. You start to think, what if it doesn't work? What if people think I'm dumb? What if people judge me? What if I'm not good enough? So in that moment, emotional resilience looks like your ability to pause. Just acknowledge the fear. I am feeling fearful. I am feeling nervous. Then you regulate. You take a few deep breaths, whatever it is that you know calms your nervous system. And if you don't know what that is, if you don't have a nervous system plan, a regulation plan, I would highly recommend you check out my course, Regulated. What it does is literally this. It helps you learn your triggers, learn the things that tend to move you into a dysregulated state, either hypervigilant, hypovigilant, whatever it is, and then create your own individualized plan in order to get yourself back into regulation. That is going to make everything a million times easier. So you pause, you regulate. Then the third thing is you're going to reframe. Okay, you're going to remind yourself that this emotion is not an emergency. It's just part of the process. And then you're going to be able to take action. You're going to move forward despite the fear, knowing that it's simply a part of creating something new and letting yourself believe that the life that you want to create is possible for you. And over time, this practice becomes second nature. You will stop letting fear or guilt or doubt hold you back, and you will be able to build the life that you've envisioned from a place that feels good, not a place that you do it and you're so exhausted that you can't even enjoy it. I want you to be able to enjoy the things that you achieve. That's why you wanted to achieve them. So let's do that. So 2025, it does not need a new you. It's not new year, new you. It needs the real you, the regulated you, the resilient you, the rewired you, the ready to create you. The shit you're leaving behind in 2024, other people's expectations, perfectionism, waiting for the right time is just noise. It's time to focus on what truly matters. Regulating your nervous system so you can hold space for your emotions, building that emotional resilience so discomfort doesn't derail you, and changing your story so that you can step into the next level version of yourself with clarity and confidence. So your mantra for the new year, my feelings aren't emergencies. They're simply part of the process. This is your year to show up, to let go of the shit that doesn't serve you and create what you've always envisioned. Here is to you. Here is to a fully aligned you, an emotionally resilient you, a rewired you in 2025 that will set you up for the rest of your life. What are you leaving behind in 2024? And what are you going to step into? What are you going to stop waiting for the perfect time to do in 2025? Write it down and then take an action. Do it right away before your nervous system and your old thoughts get in the way. What are you going to do? And then take an action. This will serve you. This will set you up for all the success that you want. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your new year with me. I hope that this is the best year ever because you are the most you ever. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Thanks for listening. And before you go, one more thing. So as you know, I am slightly obsessed with helping as many humans tap into their calm AFness as possible. So if this podcast has helped you, would you please leave a review, make sure you're subscribed, and share it with your friends. Also, make sure you head on over to KristenFinch.com to see how you can work with me. You can sign up for my emails and get any other goodies I have available. Until next week, I love you so much. I am so grateful that you're here. I'll see you next time.